Good afternoon, everybody. This is Don Setti from CYBRI, based in New York. Hope everybody's well today. I'm joined by my colleague here, EJ Hilbert. And today we're going to discuss part one of a series on virtual CISO services, which we hope that you're all interested in. This is predominantly for small, medium business and growth mode companies. So segment one today, we're going to cover, and EJ is going to cover in detail key themes for information security, cybersecurity, and privacy. Segment two will cover what is a virtual CISO. Segment three, services and benefits of a small and medium business having a virtual CISO, and there are some subtopics around that also, which should be interesting. Before we get started, CYBRI is a information security and cybersecurity solution and service provider. We're based out of New York. Help companies improve their cybersecurity posture through collaborative penetration testing, virtual CISO services, as well as red team, ethical hacking. We were a graduate of the Secure Tech Accelerator program at Dream It IT Ventures. I'll turn it over to EJ. EJ, maybe you can share a little bit about your background in the cyber world, and then we can jump into it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Don. As Don said, my name is EJ Hilbert, and I am for lack of a better word, a cybersecurity and privacy professional. I don't say expert because it's too big. By way of background, look, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Started as a high school teacher, was an FBI agent, one of the first cyber agents within the FBI. That just means that you work cybercrime. I did cybercrime and counterterrorism. I infiltrated groups online. I had a role in Carter Planet and Shadow Crew and the takedown of various different other groups, as well as bringing treason charges against the American Al-Qaeda, Adam Gadon. After my time with the FBI, I was in charge of security at MySpace. I've also been with Kroll, doing cybersecurity and forensics both in the United States and across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I've been with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I've been with a couple of other various firms dealing, helping to build cyber practices, helping clients from, again, small to large across around the globe. And though this may sound a bit egotistical, there's probably not a cyber attack that I haven't seen, fought against, researched, trained on, because though we like to think it's a new business and we like to think it's something new, it isn't. There are very simple and existing methodologies that bad guys attack with, and once you understand those and work from them, we go from there. So,
awesome. EJ, thank you so much for that background. So when we're thinking about the information security and the cybersecurity landscape in 2020 and 2021, and we know that things are moving at a fast and furious pace across the board. So maybe you could touch on the first segment, just around privacy regulations and compliance. Again, keeping with these four big key themes. Like, what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, from a key theme perspective, and look, there's always talk about increase in ransomware and increase in phishing and so on. But if you break this down a little bit more, there are six primary threats in cyber. Okay, there's crime, where I'm trying to make money. There's espionage, where I'm trying to steal your stuff. Mm-hmm. There's disruption or warfare, where I'm trying to disrupt you. There is activism. I don't like you, so I'm going to put everything I can out there about you. There's manipulation, which is the stealing of data to manipulate people's views. But the newest one that's coming into play is regulation. And those first five, people really don't care about because there's nobody forcing them to do something about it, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But regulation is coming into play. We have GDPR that came in the end of 2018 across Europe. They're now starting to actually issue fines and address individuals. You've got CCPA that came into existence in California that includes a fine of anywhere between $100 and $750 per person whose stuff gets stolen. That has now been converted into CPRA, which will have its own enforcement branch of the California government. And it's not just about California. CCPA, CPRA says that anybody worldwide that does any work with any California-based consumer is subject to this law. Well, then we also have now New York Shield law that does the same stuff. We have a law out of Ohio that requires this type of stuff. We have a law out of Nevada, Maine. These things are all coming into play. And you're going to see that this is an opportunity for the government to finally lay down the law, if you will, in terms of how security has to come into play. Because though they're called a privacy law, the key is you can have security without privacy. You can't have privacy without security. So each of these laws require a quote reasonable security level
Mhm.
for every company, and that is going to be a big push you're going to start seeing. And if you're not paying attention to it,
Mhm.
it's going to bite you.
So if there's a B2C e-commerce type of company dealing with customers in those regions, or if we're a B2B service or solution provider, this all comes together.
Well, and you used the word that's different. You said customer. No, it's consumer. All they have to do is visit your website. They never have to buy anything from you. If you market to a California consumer and they visit your website, and you make over 25 million. There's a couple of other laws.
Yeah.
They have the right to come to you and say, "I want all the information you collected about me," and you have to comply or face penalties.
Wow. Amazing.
And that comes into play. That is going to push things because one of the things about security is that unless you suffer something, unless you suffer a breach or you suffer a regulatory action or so on, most companies do not jump into doing the work. Let's be honest, we don't. I mean, you're not going to do it until well, guess what? You know, at a minimum, $100 per, you lose 1 million records. That's $100 million fine, period.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Done.
the consequences are big.
Yeah, and they're finally there, and this is what we had to get to. So
Absolutely. And I know that we're going to cover at some point, third party risk management, the B2C, B2B side. But tell me or share a little bit about companies that you're seeing addressing information security and cybersecurity really well, and how those companies are maybe turning these things that would almost be considered a cost. How do they turn into like a strategic differentiator?
turning security into a efficiency or a business model is a key element of it. A lot of people, we're going to stick with the privacy thing for a second. A lot of people were very upset about the privacy laws coming in place, saying, "Oh my God, we can't do this. This is how we make our money," and so on. What they didn't realize is that privacy requires you to lock down your data. Okay, and it also builds trust with your customers. And if your customers have trust in you, then maybe they'll give you permission to use their data differently. That means that they're going to give you
Mhm.
more cleaner data, for lack of a better word, and it's going to be worth more on the open market. Privacy and trust, or privacy and security, are going to become market differentiators. Now, you never go and say, "We're more secure than somebody else." That's like saying, "Shoot at me." But you do say to your vendors, to your strategic partners, you agree on a level of security that is a requirement. You agree on a level of privacy amongst the data that's a requirement, because private data is scarce data, and scarce data is valuable data. You just have to change the dynamics of the mindset. And the only way you're going to have that work is if your security team is paying attention to you. They are a partner in the business, not somebody whose job it is just to shut you down. They are going to make your business more efficient and more cost effective and more valuable and interesting to customers and to partners.
Yep. Yeah, good points. Good points. And you touched on something when you said, the security team is an enabler. The security team supports the business. Now, what about the company that's may not have necessarily internal resources from an expertise perspective, or being able to have the right level of expertise from a budget perspective? How do they address those things? What are some ways to get to have the right level of privacy and security while being cognizant of budget and resource constraints?
Yeah. Having an internal security expert has long been debated. Do we really need them at this level, and so on and so on? Can we afford to have them sit around? I can even tell you, when I was with MySpace, it was my job to stop a bunch of stuff that had happened. We fixed the primary issues in 6 months. And for the next 2 years, we kind of sat around and went, waiting for something bad to happen. It wasn't cost effective, but the company's like, no, we need to have you here. And there were things, don't get me wrong, there was plenty of work to do. It's just in terms of addressing primary cyber. But like you said, most companies can't afford that. Having an internal resource does not mean somebody that is on the payroll 24/7. It's not somebody that you're paying 40 hours a week or whatever it is. Having an internal resource is a person or a group of people that you can call upon anytime you need them, and that they will help you address these issues. But because they know your business. It's not a consultant. It's not somebody that you hire to address one particular thing. It is a partner who understands what your business is, what your business does, and is there to address these types of things and guide you on that particular realm, like an advisor that you would have on the board.
Sure.
And that ties us into a virtual CISO.
That's great, great. EJ, thank you very much today for sharing your expertise with us. And again, for our audience, we're going to be this is a part of a series, and we're going to come back in the next couple of days with segment 2, which is what is a virtual system. So EJ, thank you very much, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you. We'll talk in a little bit.
Thank you.